All right, welcome back to day 21 of our 30-day loose leash walking challenge. Today we are tackling some triggers, so get ready. If you haven't seen me before, my name is Kristen from Salty Pack. So for today, see if you can meet up with a friend. Maybe they have a really nice stable dog that you can also have them bring along. We're going to be working through some triggers. So bring some patience in today's session. We're going to be putting all of the skills together that we've been practicing in a very controlled way so that we can set ourselves up for success with some muscle memory when things inevitably come out of the blue. All right, so we're putting all the things together today. So remember, at first we're going to do a little bit of a warm up with your dog. So make sure that they're sort of like engaged with you. We've got them maybe some beans out. Again, you can always do play once we kind of start off these sessions that you kind of know that we're setting up for. Practicing that name game before we bring some triggers out. Make sure that your dog is sort of dialed in with you and making sure that that is nice and reflexive, keeping them nice and hungry. So maybe not too many rewards to start with. But what we're going to do is try and set up a situation that you can utilize some space and distance if you need to, but we're going to try and pass by a trigger. So this is going to be hopefully one of your very first successful repetitions. Now, while it might be a successful repetition, it might take a little bit to get there, and that's totally fine. So we're going to be working on our name game, making sure that if our dog starts to focus, lock, load, fixate, whether it's excitement or a little bit of nervousness, whatever kind of emotions that you're working through, make sure that you can grab our dog's attention back. In a moment, you'll see me working with Callie, who's a lab. We also do a lot of change of direction. So you can use your let's go, bring her back in, and then be either like feeding her as you go or continuing to work back. So what we do with Callie is come a little bit closer to her trigger, then we come away, closer to the trigger, then we come away, and eventually we can just walk past it. In this case for Callie, it's a dog that has barked at her behind a fence. The dog's not there, but she's just as triggered just by that fence line. So we kind of work through that with her in the demonstration. And just to clarify with this name game, it doesn't necessarily need to be that you're always having your dog focus just on you and not on the trigger as you pass. Ideally, I want it to be that in the presence of a trigger, I check back in with my mom or dad. Then over time, we don't always have to reward that because ideally, again, for the next 10 to 15 years that you have with your dog, I don't need you to be just as reactive as your dog going, oh my gosh, there's a trigger, you have to check back in with me. But what we're doing here is just creating a different pathway so that your dog doesn't go, well, there's nothing else to do except for lock, load, stare, fixate, and then try and go for the trigger. So we're just trying to create something different. Eventually what it's going to look like is in the presence of a trigger, I either check back in with mom or dad, they say, yeah, that's nice, we can just keep moving past it. And we don't have to continue to ask for their focus back at us. But a lot of dogs, if they've had some practice maintaining focus with that trigger, it can be a little bit more difficult. So that's kind of this whole thing with the name game. So when you are passing your trigger, try not to have your reward exactly as you're passing that trigger. I do want you to try and push yourself. So whether that means that you need your trigger to be a bit further away as you're passing by, but letting your dog acknowledge that the trigger is there and not lunging towards it, that is going to be the goal for today. What might happen in your first couple of repetitions, though, is that your dog might try and go towards that. So remember the body awareness that we kind of spoke about a couple days ago. So making sure that we've got a bent elbow, we're protecting that shoulder. We don't want anything pulled out randomly if your dog does go for it. Keep that athletic stance. Make sure that you've got your thumb lock nice and locked and loaded as well too, so it doesn't slip through your fingers. So making sure that you remember all of that stuff in the presence of your trigger. This is going to be a great way for, again, you, who is a little bit more kind of prepped and ready for it as well too, to go, hey, lunging and trying to get towards that thing is not actually working for you anymore. So we're blocking all of that, trying to get towards the trigger and blocking any sort of forward momentum. So remember, it might take you a couple of times to get past that trigger today, and that's totally fine. Bring your patience, bring a good attitude. Your dog is going to feed off of all of that stuff for you guys as well. All right, and as always, make sure that you bring your phone so that you can see if anything goes particularly well, or you can document maybe the first time that you've passed by a trigger and make sure that everybody knows that it actually happened. Make sure to bring your dog who's nice and hungry. You can bring their breakfast or their dinner in your treat pouch or your pocket and have some fun with your dog and your friend. All right, so this is Callie. She has walked past this fence many times. There has been a dog there. There has not been a dog in probably about a year, but she still gets a little bit amped up. So today is going to be working through a trigger with your dog. For Callie, this is the fence line that she has been yelled at by a dog before. What happens is she tends to have a sniff. She tends to like, like she is audibly a little bit stressed out by it. We might even have a dog that's coming as well too, which would be even better. At least I thought I heard one. So what I'm going to do here is, if I feel like she's getting a little bit buzzy, her come back to me cue is finished. So you'll see me say finish, and then she'll come back to me, and then we'll try again. So I'm going to try and get further and further and further. So it might take a couple of times when you're choosing your trigger. That's kind of the whole point. It's a trigger for your dog. So if it takes a few times to actually do a bit of a pass by with your dog, totally fine. We're going to take our time here, but that's what you're going to be looking at. All right, Cal. Now also with my body language, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, it's a trigger and I'm just as anxious as you are. I'm going to have my shoulders back, nice and calm, loose. I'm going to make sure that there's no tension on that leash as we get closer to it. So all things, again, that we can minimize for ourselves to help minimize our dog's anxiety about the trigger as well too. Let's go. Finished. Nice. Good job. We also have a dog that's barking across the street, which is lovely. Good. Let's go. Nice. Well, you got to chew your food. Nice. Good girl, Cal. Good. Finished. Nice job. Super girly. Nice. I actually think those guys are more the triggers now. Let's go. Then this fence. Good. Good girl. Nice. Nice work, Cal. Let's go. Oh my gosh, super girl. Good. Finished. Nice. So she was getting a little bit, oh, I dropped it. A little bit antsy about these dogs. Let's go. Nice. That was probably the best she's ever done it. Of course, perfect demo. Good girl. So for you guys working through a bit of a trigger with your dog, see if it can be something that is either going to be somewhat controllable as best as possible. Even like barking dogs behind a window is perfectly good as well too. Barking dogs behind a fence, for example. Some sort of trigger that you have enough time to be able to work through it. So that's going to be the goal, is find a trigger for your dog. And this is going to be a little bit of that kind of working together, and mostly focusing on the handling for yourselves as well too. So remember, like shoulders back, you're confident, remember your leash handling. If it takes you a few times to walk past, totally fine. So if we have a bit of an explosion, that's fine. Just take a note where your dog had that little bit of an explosion at the trigger. Make sure that we work back a little bit of the distance, and then see if we can try it again. So the movement backwards for a lot of you is going to be yes, meaning come back and take food from me. For Callie, it's finished, come take food from me. Is going to be to give a little bit of that space so that you're helping your dog kind of feel better about the situation as you move through it. This is not definitely going to be how you're going to do triggers for the rest of your life with your dog, but this is a little bit of like, okay, if we're in a bit of a sticky situation, this is how we can kind of get out of it as well too. So good leash handling for us, and a good little kind of confidence building as well too for your dog working through a trigger. Nice job, Callie. That was too good. You were perfect. Let's go. Thanks for watching today's video. My name is Kristen from Salty Pack. If you're looking for any individualized help with your dog, either in person or virtually, you can find us at saltypack.com.au, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at saltypackdogs. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.